We are beginning the stream for Friday. Yeah, we are going to be coaching Refresh today, and this is a little squad league team. That's a tournament for Division 6 and lower in Lodi, lower level. Sort of, if you know of low ink, it's generally around the gamma bracket range or even beta, and below that. So yeah, we'll be getting into this. They will be scrimming Neko Nyoctos, which I've coached earlier. I actually coached them just yesterday. So we'll be seeing how they are going as well. But this will be in the perspective of how do we let Refresh take some games here. So yeah.
Alright, let me mute then.
Yes, I meant to say yes, I don't mind. Or
Okay.
no, I don't mind.
Well, yeah, the do you mind if question is so... There's no right answer, really. But yeah. There's a patch just put in. Well, you can say it. I'll be typing it in, so...
Also, sorry if my voice sounds a bit off. I'm just like scarfing down food before so I can play.
I've been there. You're good.
Sounds like messed up. That's why.
I saw ones, by the way.
I am, I hope. I'm like doing so many aim drills right now because I usually play on like a TV, and today I'm playing just like tabletop and it's so small. Like I'm not used to it.
I know.
No, it's even worse.
It's not.
It is for someone like me that is like turning like 180 by like throwing my controller around.
I just saw it in chat. I'm so sorry.
All good.
You don't need to type it. I saw.
Yeah, I'll type it.
Yep. Okay.
I'm doing it anyway because it's funny.
Fair enough.
I'll never forget the first low ink we did when it was check-in day 2 and everyone started like doing like exclamation mark first, like to use a command check-in and then their team name, and like 5 people did it, and I was like, oh, I better do that too. And like the second I had like sent my message, an admin had already just sent a message that said, you guys don't have to use the commands, you can just say your team name. And so it just looked like I sent it afterwards.
No.
Oh no, that's so unfortunate.
You are the problem.
We do a little bit of trolling. A little bit. A moderate amount.
Say the tomfoolery.
Yeah, Insanity just said their mic isn't cooperating, which if you didn't hear, then that's sort of...
I heard.
Okay. I just can barely hear it myself, so...
I personally don't have to hear it though, because I'm on the other team, so...
Fair.
Oh wait, sorry. Are you guys waiting for me?
I think so. Alright, we'll
Don't know.
hop into Scrimmy Dingus chat over here.
Wait, so who's the spec on your team?
The spec is going to be Widow.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, good luck, have fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Break a
too.
leg.
See ya.
Oh no, we didn't decide which
Oh
one
yeah,
we wanted to say.
Oh, I still have
What are-
questions.
I need y'all's weapons, or like... What, like, y'all generally play, just so I have an idea.
I think you guys are going to the other two scrimming.
I'm gonna start moving people.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh wait, oh, Refresh goes in there. Oh, okay, my bad.
Oh.
Sorry.
I heard B say B say go to Scrimmy Bingus, and I was like, okay, that means that Nekos are going there. My bad.
Yeah,
Bye. Okay, hello. There was a little bit of a scuffed move into this VC, but I'm here now. I'm just curious, like,
Everybody is
what are
quiet.
all of your weapon pools, out of curiosity?
Our roller deco.
Okay, so,
I'm a one trick with Splash, and I have been since Splatoon 2.
okay,
But with Forge, I've been doing really well on most maps except for maybe 4. So I use Forge to accommodate the other 2 splashes that are on our team.
okay,
I have previously I mained Chargers and Hydra, but and then I went from Chargers to Hydra, played Hydra for a long time, then moved on to Dually Sculptures, and that's been my main for a while now.
okay.
I still play Hydra every once in a while, I still enjoy it, but mostly right now I've been trying to get good at Dually Sculptures, and I've also been trying to learn Skeleton.
Yeah, I just play planes.
Okay, so
I play C Junior. I'm trying to get better at Flingza and Stamper.
okay,
And then we have Ankar, who's just like a splash main as well.
I mean, you could say that.
Yeah, I mean you play other things, but almost always splash because it's really good.
is it like other short range shooters, so like Shot, Gal, or
Yeah.
Yeah, I can play T-Tech and Splash as well.
okay,
I play, but I've just been playing roller deco recently. But honestly,
Fair.
I play anything.
okay.
Should I start the match?
Yeah, whenever.
Okay.
Okay, good luck.
Alright, thank you.
Okay, so immediately with the comps that I'm seeing from them, Lotus being a splash, sort
Alright,
of,
sounds
or splash or forge is pretty solid here. One Legacy being Flingza here, that gives you a lot of paint for Ong. Insanity being Squelchers also makes sense here, just having a lot of range, a lot of paint for the carbon, and being able to take fights safely. Squelchers, it's not a meta pick at the moment. Like, it's not like the top
Gonna
like
try to
3
go
weapons,
right inside right away.
but it still works pretty well. If
Someone should try
anything,
to let them if they can.
the only thing is like double roller can sometimes be a bit weird. But I think missiles and the paint output of Flingza sort of counteract that. So
I'm gonna miss real quick.
we see Ong immediately starting on right alone without the paint of anyone else, so they have
Everybody
to
is
give
on
up space
the
on right.
So three?
Finally recognizing that Insanity's trying to take space, a bit unsafe, but
One.
Yeah, you're down
seems like just chipping away and
Got
getting
you.
paint on left with Ong. That worked
Three.
because they painted around where Ong wanted to push up, and Ong recognized that and took advantage.
Don't worry about it.
So
Okay.
that's sort of how they got that initial push in. So
Crazy thing. The sniper.
this is a really good Zuka for the snipe.
Okay.
Insanity being up front. I think Scorchers being alone there is pretty good. So that was a good push.
Someone has flash.
Um, The main thing is just recognize when you have plans. You could have gotten some of them in Insanity after Mel was immediately pressuring you. Ong is too far up now. Honestly should have been punished for it. Should still be punished for it by Sid. Finally got a trade, but that was still a bit forward. Just wasn't
Yeah.
quite punished for it.
And this one too. This one's going to.
It's good that they're sort of backing up for it, but I think there was still just a bit too much space they didn't give to the brush. Like they didn't back up as quickly as they probably should have with the whale. And yeah, actually I should. Yeah. Okay. So
There's a brush left side.
I got the brush. Yeah.
as far as what I'm seeing immediately, Ong
Oh,
is
another
playing
Are they down to
without awareness of teammates. Teammates are playing without awareness of where Ong
There's
wants
a
to push in.
cracker.
So there's sometimes like some paint that
How is
like
that?
the other team's slow to recognize it, and so there's not that much that
Can't follow.
they're punishing
Yeah, we could
for
overlap.
Ong being
It's
there.
just duties.
But
Yeah, try to stay alive or jump there.
it's really just awareness of where they're wanting to push in. Finally getting paint up.
Brush got me. On the
Yeah, and
left.
again, that's
I
actually
Yeah, they come in.
another point where Ong went in a bit too far up without paint support, and then got a bit too
Someone
Alright,
caught
never
me.
mind. You're not going.
far in.
Shot
One
me
big
caught.
thing with Carbon is, do they see you?
Carbon's on the grid.
Making sure that your position isn't recognized is so important with Carbon.
Brush is
Because if you go in
above.
front of someone like that,
Try
then
to stick with him.
even if they don't see you, then they probably are going to be shooting in that general direction.
Jumping.
So being able to just go from an off angle when they don't know where you are is very important here. Like immediately Ong's position was seen, but
Brush is the weak. Okay.
I think that
Guys got brush.
that was still like,
Try and put too many off
I think it was good maneuvering around the
Jumping
gal, because your team was pretty much so close to you that they were going to be painting accidentally near you.
Alright, let's get through.
Yeah, they
I
have
think
a bubble.
that was very committal on the left side. If you got the pick, then like it would have helped you get mid. I don't know if it was quite worth the risk though, because now your team pretty much had very little paint in mid. The opposing team didn't really use that to their advantage though, so
The minis right here.
I'm going to watch a bit of this. Giving up space on left for a little bit. You're throwing bombs a lot as Swelchers, and I think that you can spend a little more time just trying to take fights and get people's eyes off of someone like Ong. That's really your game plan here. Decent tracking. You're playing a lot around bomb, and I think that's why you're not able to prolong fights as much as you want to. I think even when you outrange all of their weapons, and so if you play it at the tip of your range to slowly get space, you can still do pretty well. The main thing bombs have to do as Squelchers is get them out of cover
Brush is weak.
and poking at long range like that. But even still, there was someone on snipe that's now on top of you on the left side.
Can you jump in on this?
I think
Alright, I'm still playing.
right there, that was you're poking very far up at Squelchers, and I think you want to use your range a bit more because you outrange all of them. So I think that's enough of that. Where's the Ong right now?
Jump in really well.
They're on top.
Alright, we should play.
Fantastic call on saying we have to go defensively.
Got brush.
Alright.
I'm on there.
Really good positioning here. You don't need to push up. Getting clams on left is pretty good. Just preventing them from moving in.
Alright. This way then. What's gonna be here?
Good missile. This is good timing for it. They have to focus on them. And so, yep.
Brush behind you.
Good game overall. Just, okay. I can. Okay, good game overall. I want to say a couple of things. First,
Yeah.
I think, with a comp like that, the main thing you're wanting to do is paint around the carbon so it can move up. And I think, like, there's a bit limited coordination between, like, the Carbon's game plan, so Ong's game plan, and the rest of the team. Like at the beginning of the game, Ong was on right side and trying to push up, and no one was with them. Everyone else was painting up left side, and so they had to back up initially. And I think that was space that you didn't necessarily need to give up if someone was with Ong. And it happened multiple times throughout the game where like Ong was pushing very far up and like revealing themselves to the opponent without having paint around them to move. So like one big thing about Carbon is you want to like if whether the opponent sees you or not or knows where you are is a resource, and you spend that by sort of revealing yourself to try to get a pick on them. And with Carbon's kill time, often that's so fast that they can't react to it. The main times you can't are when they're currently looking in your direction, or if they have paint so far in front of them that you can't really aggress them. So I think it partly falls on like calling out where you want to go as a Carbon to your teammates so they can help move with you. And also like a bit of awareness with the rest of your teammates about like where is your Carbon, because that's your main aggressor, that's your main playmaker in this comp.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that I also noticed with Insanity Squelchers, I saw you using bombs a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if like Squelcher's bomb is really useful, but it makes it so that you can't paint for much longer afterwards, because it's not
yeah,
a
I know, and that is a bad habit I've recognized myself, is that I rely too much on bombs for poking and trying to move enemies around, and I should like just try to use them, like not stop using them entirely, but use them less, because it does become a problem, because that's takes away a lot of my main mobility in being able to roll, as rolling takes up a lot of ink as a squelcher.
Remember, as a Squelcher, bombs aren't your only way to poke. You outrange the entirety of the enemy's comp. So like just your range, just being able to roll into the opponent and then roll back out. You can move very non-committally with the weapon's dodge rolls. That's what makes it such a good, do you know what the jump tech is?
Yes.
Okay, so like things like that just make it so that you can roll and have basically nothing happen afterwards. While with something like Bluga, something like Tetra, once you're in a roll, you're in it for a while. And Squelchers is the best painting mid-range dually. And so there's a lot of paint that you can get to help. There's a lot of like you can poke with your main weapon for a lot longer than you can a bomb. And by doing that, it also helps you create space, create paint for Ong to move in. I think those are the main things that I noticed. Really good, just keeping paint up overall. I think like you painted well to prevent them from moving in. It's just like painting in order to mobilize their Carbon and move up. Yeah.
And I think the bomb wrong might also just be a problem with me playing other weapons a lot more before Squelchers, where
Yeah,
that was a more viable option, and just like a bad habit I developed, because I haven't been a Squelcher main as long as I've been maining a lot of other weapons that should be using the bomb to poke, because where that is a viable option.
Right. But let's take like a 10 attack for example. It doesn't have the range to poke safely, and so bomb is a great option for it because it also has enough efficiency with its ink tank to sort of shoot a little bit and then weave out with its mobility in the ink. I think
And
one of the things.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're okay. If you had something to say on that topic, then go on. I was going to maybe move to another thing.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say one thing I forgot to mention in my history of weapons is that I've also played V-dualies a lot, and that is a short-range weapon with suction bomb. So that's another kind of thing where I've used suction bomb to poke with that weapon a lot, and that's another thing that probably contributed to that habit now.
Yeah, I think also like your positioning with Squelcher, at times it felt like it was similar to a dually, where like under left side you were trying to pressure someone like a splash, I think it was, and they had the range to be able to chip you out right there. And with Squelchers, you don't have to be like right under that ledge in order to pressure. You can be at a bit more horizontal of a range, or an angle, I guess. So there's value in using the tip of your range, even for short-range weapons, but it really helps with Squelchers. Because like that's, I guess the main thing that bombs help for with Squelchers specifically is if an opponent's hiding in a corner, then it either has to commit by like looking over in the corner, or it can do something non-committal. Well, or can commit to using its ink tank by throwing a bomb and forcing them to move out of the corner or out of the way. And so like the main thing that bombs help do is like get people behind cover, being able to pressure them. So that even applies for like anchor weapons, so chargers, but yeah, I think the main thing is just like using your range to paint, and like with squelchers you can start fights a lot and not exactly finish them, because their mobility helps you stay non-committal. Your ink tank is probably the go on.
Sorry, I just want to say that's also something else I need to focus on fixing is it's not something I'm always doing, but it's something I notice I do enough to where it's a noticeable issue. Is sometimes I do commit too hard and end up just kind of feeding instead of actually like doing anything good with anything like useful.
That's fair. I
I
think
commit too hard instead of like leaving once it's no longer like a good position.
right, and I mean you don't necessarily need to leave. Like there's a third option that's there as well, and that's sort of staying in the same place and chilling.
And that's
Generally
something
that-
I've done
oops.
as well.
Yeah, it generally means like the opponent has to push into you, and as a squelcher you win that 1v1 against like this enemy's comp specifically, but even in general, like if they don't have a crab, that works against most meta threats as well. So
The main thing I would sorry. I was just saying one thing.
Yep.
The main thing I was referring to that was specifically positions where like I know sometimes I commit too hard when I am outnumbered, and that's the biggest problem.
Oh, okay.
Is not getting away when I am outnumbered.
Right. Sometimes that can happen with squelchers as well. Like, I know some squelcher playstyles rely on quick respawn and sort of playing it like a tetra, so staying alive longer than you should, and wasting the opponent's time with like getting multiple of them to look at you in order for you to actually go down. And then having someone like a carbon come in and finish it off. So that could be something to consider. I think just the main thing is like being committal doesn't only mean like overcommitting up front and getting picked off for it. I think that bombs are very committal as well.
Yeah.
And like not having an ink tank means that there's like a little bit more space that the opponent can get after that, if that makes sense. Or like a little less paint that you're getting on the ground. So yeah.
And I know one thing that I've done before that I think I've stopped completely because I've learned that it is a horrible thing I was doing, like a horrible habit, and that was throwing a bomb and then dropping before I refill. That was like I don't know where that habit came from, but it was one thing that was a problem for a while.
I think it might come from like sometimes like throwing Wavebreaker and then dropping, or like throwing a bomb before Wavebreaker, or like special in general. But yeah, I do think that Yo did well overall. So
Okay. Our next one is TC on AL2.
okay.
Sorry for taking up so much time with that.
What? No, you're okay. If y'all want to like just keep going, I can try to make this more concise as well.
Up to you. Whatever works. I mean,
Yeah.
we need it, so I don't really mind.
Fair enough. So I guess like actionable things, like if the opponent's just at a range from you and not behind cover, maybe like just using the tip of your range insanity, could be something to try out. And then as for like team-wise, getting paint around where Ong is, trying to Either-
space, right?
Yeah, so creating space can mean like either saying I'm making space on X position, so like I'm painting left mid. That gives data to Ong of like, okay, I have a bit more space on left that I can use. Or Ong saying like, I want to move left, and then the team reacting to that and saying, okay, let's have someone go over there.
I switched over to C Junior, so I'm gonna try and paint more for Aang and try and be near him.
Okay. From Flingza?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll try to communicate better where I'm going and what my is. And one legacy, I'm pretty sure I mentioned that to you, right?
What?
That, like, I'm good at getting there and maybe getting a pick or two and then trading, but I'm at, like, letting the team know as I'm going or planning to do that.
Yeah. I mean, the
I
process.
definitely think
I think like
Oh yeah, and I definitely want to get better at communicating what the heck I'm gonna do, you know, to help me.
Right,
Yeah.
and sometimes Carbon can be very explosive with how it moves up. It's not like a short range shooter where it sometimes paints up a little bit before going. It can sometimes just go, and I guess it's like
Yeah.
partly like
Usually what I do.
yeah, and I think one big thing with that is like most of the team has bombs, burst bomb, even splat bomb from Squelchers or like Squelchers range. You have ways to poke at the enemy while Ong is going ham in an engagement.
yeah.
And like being able to cover for them. So I think it's like partly knowing where like to call out I'm fighting someone left, or like awareness of your teammates, but especially your Carbon, and
Yeah.
keeping floor painted, etc.
Yeah, we'll try that out. So, Aang, I'm gonna go right side with you, right?
Yes.
Or like,
Yeah, and then
look.
if we can get some paint on in the mid area, so I can try to flank,
Yeah.
get behind them.
I think with this
Is this-
comp, oh shit, I had no idea.
Because this map is very you know, is just mid, and there's nothing mid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to move right side and drop, and try to go mid.
That was good.
In general, calling where you're going to go at the start of the game can be helpful, so that like your team can sort of spread out. I like that you're immediately going for that engagement and then helping your junior. This is much better. Even though Ong traded, it traded too, and
I'm wavering.
that's really helpful.
Jumping in mid.
Okay. I think you're good right there. Oh,
Very good poking
Got
from
one.
Insanity right here.
someone on top. Is she on top?
Backing up.
I think just one thing to note is even if you're in a 2v1 against someone, you don't need to like actually finish them out
Someone on
off
our-
if it's risky, because you have the teammate to help get covering fire. Okay, this crab is huge. Insanity is on right
I'm
alone
waiting for
without.
it's almost
Well,
out.
okay, going up alone like that on a drop, you don't have anywhere to go. Fantastic pairing between Legacy and Ong. This is really good to
I have
see.
the wing.
Good crab on left to just get pain. This is really good special coordination. You're able to get 3 from it, so. And the last one's behind. Insanity, you can call that out.
On their left side. I'm
Okay.
just dropping. I'm gonna try to get them. Oop, I got located with.
Yeah.
I'm moving right side.
That's a wave breaker.
I like the call outs, Ong. Teammates, why did you... Okay, while Ong's moving up on right side, everyone else is back up left, including Legacy. I think with the crab, I guess I understand. but
Someone back up so I can jump. Okay.
Onk's still alive back there. Huh. Or wait, they respawned, okay. They didn't really have support there, so... Oh no. No one saw tower.
Rush got me. Alright, someone back up so I can jump.
That is so unfortunate.
Support.
It was like 1 point away. Just be aware of that. Really good flank on. And good back.
I'm weak.
Very non-committal. Which is good.
Okay, so you want that?
When you get on tower, that reveals everyone that someone is on tower. As a Carbon especially, you don't want them to know where you are. Even if they don't know that you're the Carbon.
I mean, think left, right,
Because like, even if it was like a Squelchers, then they'd still try to aggress tower, and then you'd have to reveal which weapon you are. So you're crabbing here. There's no support on right side of Legacy. Honk's coming right in for that. Okay. But as Honk moved in up front on right, Legacy backed up. That's sort of different decisions on what you're wanting to do. Good call on, great call on like the weapon you're going for. That's really good.
I got splash.
Good pick.
Junior.
Wavebreak is very aggressive here.
I'm trying to super them.
Yep. Okay. Good pick. A little risky though. Okay. The reason why there were 2 fights there that you sort of had to rely on winning in order to get tower is because it wasn't cleared up front
I want to
first.
move forward.
And I think
on the
that's
right
because. I'll save that thought for later, since it's a bit irrelevant right now. How do y'all get past this crab? Belongs left alone on right. Junior tried moving right, but they were already on left, so they got crabbed. I think everyone else backing up is a fair decision. You don't need to use crab this early. They have to push to like all of second check.
I'm going on bridge and I'm going to block. I got my
Sort of separated from the Team Lotus, and then dying with crab up front. You don't want to be in a position where it's risky like that. The crab wasn't expected, I will give you that. But yeah. Thankfully the other team isn't pushing as hard as they could be into like right side. So
okay.
That was a lot of individual fights that you all happen to win. So
alright, I want to move
good.
right side forward.
You still don't have control of left bridge and you're already pushing. This has happened 3 times and the rest is there every time. And then you have to abandon tower because of it. Do you commit or do you have specials? Commits. You commit to using wave break early when they're still taking a lot of space and you're 1 down. That was a very early wave breaker, and I think because of like wave breaker plus teammate, it's fair to try to stay there, but overall you really want to conserve your crap there. So
I had some really embarrassing deaths that game, I can't lie.
there were a few things. Good game and great fights. You all won a lot of like individual fights. Really good improvement as well with just calling out where you are, calling out enemies that you want to take. Like I'm fighting Machine. I popped off in chat when you said that. Couple things. First, I saw a couple of times where when the opposing team was just starting to push in, like the splash dropped in on right side, or I think the Squelchers did one time. Note that if you do this, say you get a pick there, you're still sort of trapped under right. And if you don't get a pick there, they're going to see you. You can't really back up because you drop down to that spot. And then you lose crab or wave break. Yeah, so they know exactly where you are.
That was, my headset needed to be charged, and I had to run to get to a charger.
I'm so sorry.
I made a bad call.
It happens. But yeah, it's just something that I noticed. It happened like, I think I saw it happen twice from 2 different players. Like 2 times overall. I think it might have happened more times and I just didn't call it out though. One big thing about pushing up, almost every single time you all pushed, you sort of didn't get paint on their bridge, and then the brush went there every time. You eventually won that fight, but it's generally better practice to get paint on that bridge before moving up because it's an elevated point. So not only does it prevent any opponents from being there, it lets you be on an elevated spot and be able to start pressuring left side. One last thing about like the last part of the game, make sure you're not being too committal when you have the lead. They had to get through checkpoint 2, and they had a lot of time to go before that. So I guess I saw Ong try to rush in, revealing their position. They either got a trade or just went down, and that's losing Trizuka. So keep that in mind. And then I saw a Wavebreaker come out very early from Insanity. I think having the wave there is, I can see why you would use it. But first you used it after Ong Ong already got splatted, and so only 3 teammates could really utilize it to slow them down. None of you were in like an elevated point, so like you didn't have positional advantage over them. Many of you were like in bottom mid, and yeah, it was like they still had a long way to push in, and so mid is favorable for them over having like the Wavebreaker come out on checkpoint 2 when like many of them are trying to be on lower ground to take space. I hope that makes sense. And then of course, I think with the Wavebreaker, with Insanity being up as well, I think Lotus pushed up with that and then got picked off. I can understand wanting to end the game early, but Crab is so essential for disadvantage because it is such a roadblock and so flipping annoying to deal with on disadvantage or when trying to push in. That like it's just really important to conserve. I've won games when I've conserved Crab. I've lost games where I got picked off before I could Crab. I'd say it's almost as pivotal as having like a Booyah Bomb in tower. If you have a weapon with Booyah Bomb, of course. You don't need it, but like, if like the machine goes down, then that's like, whoa, we might be able to win this. I hope all that makes sense.
Yeah, and I want to say one thing I noticed as well is I still struggle with going against Wavebreaker because
it is a bad matchup for Dooley.
Yeah, it's something that is hard to remember that I need to either stop shooting or let the stick go neutral before I can jump. So and that's something I tend to mess up when going against Wavebreaker, and it's resulted in like some of my most embarrassing deaths in this game.
It happens. I think one of the main things with Wavebreaker is generally if it's up, it's of course a learning curve with timing like your jump techs, and just getting them really consistent. But it's also like sometimes it's just worth it to like the opponent's pushing in with Wavebreaker, they might have something else on the field too, like a crab tank or missiles, and like at that point it's like, is it really worth hoarding all of this space, or do they have like can we give up space here and not take the risk of getting chipped off and like getting marked? Getting marked as a Squelchers isn't as bad as like it's bad for any weapon to be marked, but Squelcher can sort of deal with it because it already sort of acts as like, I call it like deflecting aggression, where it's like it's able to just roll around and get opponents to have to look at it, or they're going to like they have to respect its range and pressure it out, but it's non-committal about how it moves, so it can still stay alive.
Yeah, that's why I use swim speed instead in place of try and focus more on the speed of movement, get harder things, instead of trying
Yeah, I guess like with squelchers, I can definitely see that. Like in like the quick respawn builds that I've spoken about, with squelcher, like they don't run Ninja Squid at all. So like it's not nearly as needed on something like squelchers as it is with like probably Splash. Uses it a lot, but
I think
Ninja Squid.
Another thing
Oh, sorry. No, you're good. Ninja Squid
I
is
just
like
wanna say-
it's never needed. So.
I just want to say as well, another thing that helps with it is the fact Scorchers has the range so you don't get it as far as a lot of other weapons.
Right, and because it has the range for it, it doesn't need to commit as far. Or like it doesn't need to commit to like using a bomb, for instance, if it wants to pressure someone from far range.
I was gonna say,
Right. Oh, I was gonna say, I think I'm swapping out because it's lessons.
yeah, with Encore.
Okay.
All right, I leaving the room, but I'll stay in voice chat.
Okay, so no more carbon and a splash instead.
Mhm.
Okay.
And Echo, I wanted to ask, how was my communication this time?
It's definitely a step in the right direction. I think you calling out like who you were trying to push and stuff like that was very helpful. I think one main thing that was happening a couple of times is like I think I saw on one push like, or it happened on 2 pushes of yours where like Ong was sort of communicating where they were going and trying to push up, and I saw sometimes like a lot of people were clustered around tower, and I think that sort of goes with like getting space in front of tower can be really helpful. I think choosing between like the splash or the junior to hold tower, depending on like who has specials, and then having everyone else try to take space like top left, top right on eel tail, but generally like to be able to help aggress the opponent so that the tower can move safely. So I guess like the communication's definitely a step in the right direction. It's mostly just like acting on those calls can often be difficult.
Alright, cool, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Is there anyone that wants to sub up for Yahoo, just so everyone gets like a fair chance to get the coaching?
I can sub out for you.
Okay.
Alright.
Well, actually, I was gonna play Flings.
3 splashes is not a meme.
Yeah,
I'm
it's not.
sorry.
Yeah.
I hate that I'm saying that.
Canopy so strong.
Yeah,
I
I
was
can
about to say
see
Forge
Forge
really
actually.
often is not even a thing. That's just a thing that has been
I was thinking for Haggle, I wanted to do like a Flings of the CGR. I don't know if that would work. With like a double splash, maybe? I don't know.
I can only play Forge on this map if I have
Oh, really?
time.
Uh,
I'm able to watch my
yeah, Hana's not coming to the chat.
Yeah. But I can play Flash.
I don't know. Right. Yeah. So we're sticking with these 4 then? For now? Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and start the match. I think they said they were gonna swap someone out. I don't know who. Oh, okay.
Bit of gaming.
Yeah, I'm confused by what they said. They said Ghost is fine.
Oh yeah, y'all played in LSL as well, right?
Yeah.
How'd it go for y'all?
went pretty well actually. We
Yeah.
just lost the game because someone DC'd and we didn't know the rules. So
That's unfortunate.
yeah.
And the thing is that it was even a close match even with the DC, so we definitely could have won that set.
Yeah.
But it's okay, you know, we
know for next time.
Mhm.
yeah, it's just I think we were just mistaken on the time limit for it, and we thought it was already too late, so we played it out. We really could have redone it.
Okay.
And the most unfortunate part is that that one match was the one that was streamed.
Yeah.
That. Oh no.
But thankfully, like I was sitting out for that match, and I was watching the stream on mute just because I felt like it was cheating to listen to the commentary. I watched it on mute. All of the chat, all the people watching were on our side. Chat wasn't like being mean about it or anything.
I don't think they would.
Everyone was pretty nice in the Splatoon community.
Oh no, I didn't have
Well,
trouble. I did end up playing that weekend, so.
Oh yeah, you went there.
Uh,
I'm pretty excited though for low ink. I think we've had a lot of practice since then.
Yeah. Good luck with it.
Hey, Echo, send the link to your stream on chat,
Yep.
please.
Hold on.
oh, we're in match. All right.
Okay, yeah, whenever you want.
Crap. Okay, got it. Good luck. Okay, so this is Legacy with flings a double splash squasher. Okay, this is just pretty standard. Like, paint the opponent out, wall them out. Especially they have a roller.
I want a ninja except V duty.
So the main
And Roller has
the main win con here is
Yeah, I want your question.
main win con here is just painting up for the roller. And just waiting out for special.
Alright, I need to low
You have a missile out, how do you use it? You get cap, but you accidentally get a pick and no one pushes up until then. You all have a wave breaker, you all have a crab. You've had 3 specials and a pick, and still you don't have control of mid. I think, not sure. Keep your call out concise. Call out with the. Okay, good. But yeah, so you still don't really have full control of mid in their side. Even though you've used so many missiles. The ruler just got a very fast poke there after the missile. Yeah, they moved in with their wave break, with their bubble, and with that pick, so they were able to get the retake because y'all didn't move in immediately with all of the specials you have. Here you're one down. That's a very forward crab. You're still very forward when none of your team is with you.
Someone jumped in.
Yeah, none of your team was with you, so I think getting picked off there is understandable.
I'm not in.
The missiles are coming out as
That's my bad.
your team was going down and like giving space to them. So with missiles coming out, it forces the opponent to move in some direction. But if they're pushing into you, then they're just going to move forward, so the missiles don't have an effect, or as much of an effect. This is a really good missile. Fantastic crap right, it's forcing them into each other. That was good special coordination, and now you're taking space with a wipe. That was good. Yep. Yeah, good control. No one's watching left side still. I think one Legacy was initially looking at it and then moved to the right side. Y'all still gotta pick on the Dole though and the juniors, so the muscle slashing drop alone. Call out if they're alone. Really good punish. Really good punish. The crab's up on top right. Did anyone see the roller though? no one saw the ruler.
No.
And I think like one big thing there is you committed a lot. You didn't commit space. You committed ink tank by throwing burst bombs, and so
I don't know that.
you weren't able to paint up front as much against the ruler. So now let's see how you'll try to move back in. I'm going to look at all cards specifically. The missile's up. You can crab with that. You drop down. If you're going to drop down on the right side, don't crab. If you want to crab, do it on 10. If you're the first crab. It's a more elevated spot, and it's just generally better for that. Losing crab there in the engagement was really unfortunate. Good crab.
I kind of messed up. I was trying to get rid of the bubbler, but I ended up getting picked off.
Was the bubbler before or after the splashes went up on right side for your team? Like what was the timer on us about?
When going to last fight, it was about like 30, so it's like
Okay.
around 20.
Okay. I think one thing to note about the retake, crab is best used on retake initially when on tent. You used it like at last 10 ticks, but I think someone used crab on bottom right, and the main thing with that is just you're not really pressuring zone with that, so they come back up in the zone and just paint over it.
Yeah, I should have used it in canopy.
I think also one of the main ways they got retake there is you didn't commit space, which is good. Like you waited for them to move into you, but you committed with burst bombs and didn't paint out the rest of zone on right side. And so the ruler was sharking there for a long while and was able to just slowly inch forward and pick all of you off. One other thing to note is at the beginning of the game when you have specials up, it's good to wait until you have specials on Hagglefish to move up because it's sort of a stalemate until then. So you played that well. Once you got specials, like the missile came out, but no one moved in with the missiles, and so you didn't really get any value out of it. Until of course one of the enemies accidentally died to the missiles. And then a crab came out from your side, and well, then the Waybreaker came out from your side, and the pick happened. Still no one was really pushed up trying to take more fights with the Waybreaker, and so there wasn't that much value out of that. And then the crab came out, and still no one was really pushing up, so there were 3 specials and 1 pick, and you barely had control of mid out of that. You got it to 59, so like, still good control, but I think that the main thing is just like being able to use those resources when you use them, because there is a time limit, and as soon as those specials end, the opponent can retake that space.
May I also say one mistake I noticed that match?
Sure.
There was a point where I was in the alley and I had Machine completely distracted trying to shoot me and not being able to. Just taunting them for a good solid like 20 seconds, and I did mention it when I really should have, because that would have been basically a teammate of theirs that with range who wasn't paying attention to the zone.
Yeah, and it also like gives information to your team of like, oh, maybe I can go and help Insanity and get a 2v1 out of that. So there's definitely value in like just saying like who you're fighting if it's a prolonged fight. It doesn't apply as much when like the Carbon's able to finish off a fight very quickly, but in a comp like that where you're very non-committal, throwing burst bombs and just like staying back with your range, it can be useful. I think but yeah, just sort of knowing when your teammates are taking fights or when your teammates are popping special, and then knowing to like sort of make the most of those specials by claiming new space. especially when using like multiple specials at once, or like staggering them. I think the timing on like the missile to Wavebreaker to Crab at the start of the game was extremely good. It's just like take fights with that, and then you can maybe get a team wipe or 2-down situation. Like if someone is moving left side with a Wavebreaker after you got a pick, and like pressuring that, while everyone else is moving up front and passively throwing stuff from like a bit further in mid, then it pressures them to move back or take fights that are otherwise a bit riskier. I think the main thing to note is like, while you're charging specials at the start of the game, they are too, and so being wary of those can be important. But I think the missiles especially, none of them were really in a position to Crab, for example. And after you got the pick, then that was really the sort of, you can make the most of it essentially. I guess one last thing, I noticed that Uncard dropped down in the retake and lost the fight against the roller. I think losing the fight against the roller was unfortunate.
Yeah, I damn preferred my increment as well.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, my increment was off and I didn't know I didn't. So you just kind of stupid.
Yeah, I guess like it's also like I think like team-wise, you had like Onkar was moving right from drop and looking at about the same space that the Crab was as well. And I guess like the Crab being from Canopy, I can see that being like essentially Onkar had Crab as well, and so by engaging in that fight very committally, it was definitely a winnable fight if the ink management hadn't gotten in the way. But by losing that fight, you lose Crab for the retake, and you only got, or like, a person only got Crab again at like 10 ticks left, which wasn't enough time for the retake. So like, knowing whether to like take fights as yourself, or to take fights as a Crab from range while your teammates take fights after they've used their special, can be useful, I guess. I hope all that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically me dying doesn't give us a Crab for retake, and then whenever we did that, did have enough time afterwards.
Yeah. Dying on a retake with special is always like one of the most painful things. And I guess like positioning with special as well. Make sure that like when you use them, it's just going to zone. And like once you use the special to go into zone, that you push up with it accordingly. The time that you all got a wipe on them was extremely good use of the missiles of the other specials as well. So like there were a lot of good moments in that game. I'm just sort of nitpicking a lot. So yeah.
Alright. I was gonna say, can we switch up the comp a little bit for this map? Lotus.
But I can go to Forge or I can trade in with Yahoo.
Either you or Ian. I want to swap you guys around and for Yahoo. Whoever wants to. I don't want to force you guys to stay on the game. Okay.
I'll mute and watch the stream.
Alright. Yo, were you thinking of playing CTR?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, actually, sorry, I forgot. I meant, completely forgot. I wanted to play Aang as well, but I could sit out for this one. Will it close the lobby if I sit out?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, shit.
So if you leave, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, could you swap with Aang just for this game? Sorry. That's on me, my bad. I thought I would be able to. Are you gonna go carbon for this? Okay.
What's up?
Were you gonna go carbon for this stuff, or are you gonna go with shot?
I want to go carbon.
Alright, go for it.
The one. If you guys can hold the Rainmaker pop, I can try to go on the right side and try to get their attention.
I mean,
And
when
maybe-
you talk to Carbon, did it?
Yeah, I don't think.
Right.
Probably won't get it.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, because I don't know that we get the pop, and depending if they have bombs, they might get it.
Well, also
So-
you messed up. Spectator. You have 3.
Yeah, we have 3
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Is there a way to close the lobby?
we can just off the map today. Okay, I guess that works.
Yeah.
That's some approach.
Or going back to my channel.
Oh, maps are updated.
Those maps do be updating though.
Alright, I'm gonna remake it right now. Or can someone else make it?
No, you can't.
Yeah, actually, with this map in mode, I guess it's better that I wait for a team to get a pop before I try to move forward.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get it. Alright, back up by the way. Sorry about that.
Also, if any of you want me to like spend extra time to like look at your perspective specifically and talk about anything, just let me know.
I feel like I just need to know what the hell I'm doing with positioning, so.
Okay.
Alright, that's everything. Did we like a designated Rainmaker character? Or does it matter?
No, it just depends on the situation.
Okay.
I guess it can't
Generally,
be.
Junior should probably take it because you're the least aggro. You can pick. I mean, unless that way, it just depends on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
situation
depends
definitely
Large.
depends, but like,
Example.
Following you, Mike.
Yeah, and then after it's popped, I
With,
want to
I think I'll
Waybreaker you can just throw down and take it. It's sort of like
Oh,
armor in
yeah,
that
right.
sense. So
There's one person there.
half first.
Okay.
everyone's sort of abandoned left side.
I think you
Hong
can
took a
both
trade.
Last.
One down. There's still a lot of pain on left side that hasn't been taken.
Yeah, I died.
You still haven't taken that pain on left side,
Take it last.
when Junior can take it very quickly.
the bomb it did.
You almost got picked off there because of pain, and it's definitely a lot slower.
I'm gonna crank it up.
Really nice pick there.
I'm moving forward on the left side.
Uh,
Actually, right, like, the
Ball point after.
Honestly, I would have like jumped in there on guard, but glad you got out. Use the tip of your range if it's something like well, it was a bump point. I thought it might have been a brush.
I fall down
Jumping in on the line.
Everyone's still in mid. There's a lot of pain on right side that you're not actually taking. There's like a lot of opportunity there. They're not really pushing up with it, but they were able to buy time for their aggressive weapons to start trying to take that space again. You were able to deal with them once they came in because they overextended a little bit.
Try to get ahead of the rainmaker.
But it's still important to keep in mind. They are going in alone a bit, so good fights winning against the big stagger.
I'm sharking.
I'm grabbing that.
Good short. Just know you can also use them. Oh hey, it's almost as if you heard me. Honestly, good trade. It keeps momentum in your favor. If you want to stall on this map, stalling on the far left is better than Grades, just because Grades is such a pigeonhole.
I'm sharking my clear.
Good fallback though. Good pick. There's still pain on right side and a ball point that you can be pressuring potentially. No one's really pushing up with the space. You're marked, but you don't need to move back all of that way.
Right.
Well, Bang Jet was there, but
Almost have Zuka.
it's almost like instead of just charging bombs here, you could be painting up around you. Like there's still pain on left side that hasn't been gone. That's having to be painted when someone tries to escape. When they, it wouldn't be an overextension if you painted while moving up, or like teammates painted around you. But because no one has pain around them, then it's not that much pain. Still no pain on right side. Don't even waste time with throwing a shot there. They wipe their own respawn, so just go with it. Okay. I think everyone chose a different way to push there, and like saying take it left and then everyone being on left is very fast, very actionable by everyone, and so I think that could have made it so the Rainmaker didn't die initially there. Good push still. You got to 16 after that wipe, so good fights.
I got one and died.
There's still pain on right side. Good torpedoes, good poking here. Good paint, that's good.
I shot half.
I want to move right on their pillar.
Good call. If you say that and there's no support, consider if it's worth it. So, this is a lot better for paint. Like they're sort of pushing you back with special pressure and range.
I want to move right side. Brush coming in.
Call out when you crab, or when you want to crab, because there was no one around you to pressure the ball point, and so they were able to just focus you as a crab.
Couldn't roll over.
Yeah.
Julie's is weak.
They're one down. You're still leaving a lot of pain on right side. Junior got it. Nice.
I tossed it down. Right.
I'm just gonna bring it back.
I got one. Fine.
Not so sure about that, but I can hold it. It's fine.
Don't retreat. Don't tell me what to do, game.
AGG.
Oh no. Running it back is always risky, but they have to go through check, so I guess it's not that bad.
One of the main things I noticed there, I think communication's so good. I just noticed that one time you said, I want to go right, and then no one positioned themselves on right side, and you went in anyways and got a trade. So I guess, like, even if you call something, it doesn't necessarily mean, like, it'll suddenly become, like, better in a few seconds if your team doesn't act on it. And, like, sometimes they just can't. They're, like, in other fights that are just as important. And so, I guess like just considering if it's worth like the risk of going in and trading, or like even going in and losing if that makes you lose a lot of momentum. Which in that case it didn't make you lose momentum, so it was fine. I think the main thing is like there's a lot of paint that y'all are leaving. Sort of before the wipeout, there was a lot of paint on the sides that wasn't really being kept track of, and it let the opponent sort of, even though no one was really there or like they were too far to actually pressure and like hold that space, you didn't immediately take it, and so it's sort of like an opportunity cost thing. There was also on many of your pushes, there was not really any paint on left side before you grabbed Rainmaker or went on top mid. So just keep that in mind. Splash and Junior are able to paint really effectively, very quickly, and it also helps your Carbon move around, but it also just helps you move around. There were some points where like it was a close call backing up because you had to paint yourself out.
Yeah.
So just keeping tabs on like which areas are painted, which areas aren't.
I think the reason it happened was because we were trying to do breakaways with the Rainmaker. We weren't like going for any slow sustained pushes. Generally, I noticed.
Could you say that again? I'm sorry.
I think it's because we were going for like breakaways. We were just like the first Rainmaker grab, we just took it left because we thought they were right and they were 2 down.
I mean, yeah, they were red and 2 down, but there was also 0 paint on left, and so it took a while. And honestly, like, yeah, I guess the main thing is like, you didn't need to leave left unpainted for that breakaway to work, is what I'm saying. Like to move into mid and just like paint up a little bit. As Splash, it doesn't take much time. Like, it's probably the best, probably the second best painter as a shooter to like Junior. I'm not counting Aerospray in this because it's Aerospray. But like just like a couple seconds just gives you so much area. So it's just important to keep in mind of like, can I spend like 0.3 seconds to paint a huge area of ink? I guess the last thing is like pressuring right side. Sometimes just the ballpoint was looking and it didn't have anyone else defending it. You can like poke that space, staying out of the ballpoint's range, but still like exerting your own paint control in it. So then it's sort of unpredictable if like it makes the area less safe for the ballpoint because you can be sharpening in that paint, if that makes sense. Even if you don't intend to actually move forward with it, if the only thing holding that spot is the ballpoint, then you can afford to paint that space a bit more, maybe throw a bomb or 2 at it, or just sort of like in front so you can get a bit more paint control. And force it to look somewhere other than like the extent of its range, so it becomes much less effective since it has to paint over you.
And what I wanted to say too is I wanted to go for the ballpoint whenever possible because they had a lot of range with that, and that out they didn't have range out. So that was my main thing. When I said I want to go right, and then I saw the ballpoint, and then I went for it anyway, and traded.
Yeah, and I think like that's another thing to consider with like, are trades worth it? Well, if you're deleting like the ballpoint or charger, then it's still like a huge defensive part of their comp, and so yeah, it's a lot more effective than like trading against their Tetra, for example, if it's a comp with a Tetra. But I didn't let you finish. I'm sorry.
No, I was finished.
Okay. But yeah, so like, and I guess like, I said that point in like a, it was mostly just something that I noticed. It didn't seem necessarily like bad, but because like it was a very neutral state of the game, and overall your team was playing very defensively. And so if you got a trade there, then it wouldn't, or even just flat out got picked off, it wouldn't really change the state of the game to a bad point. Honestly, y'all's defense is really good. I think the main thing is just like, if you use something like crab and want to aggress left with it, saying like I'm crabbing left can be really huge. I noticed that once someone crabbed top left and the ball point was able to look at them, if someone else was on left with the crab behind them, then the ballpoint would have to choose, do I look at the crab or do I look at the person? And so then they probably have to back up because they can't look at both and both of them are pressuring it to back up. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I was going first, but I was too afraid to commit because you can only just look left and insta delete. So.
Right. I guess I'm saying like as soon as the crab comes out, it's suddenly like a lot more beneficial to like move in with the crab, if that makes sense, if you're not the crab user. Because it's also like less safe to use crab if there's not someone in front of you, just because like they can get more off angles on you, or like if it's a ball point, then it can look right at you. And like backlines picking off crab has gotten pretty optimized at this point. So yeah, and I think painting new areas, or like areas that you sort of have like you have pressure over, but you don't have paint control, if that makes sense. It lets you charge special, and that can be really helpful for starting more pushes, starting stronger pushes, instead of just relying on getting 1v1s. So, yeah. I think also like Undertale's one of those maps where like either side of mid, if you're on one side of it, you cannot see the other one, and so it's a lot harder to like commit to moving like top mid and checking for paint. It's sort of like Hagglefish's sides and Rhinewater's sides, where it's like something that's easy to forget, but it can be helpful.
Alright, so we're gonna have Lotus playing on this one. I think Splatzones again.
What map?
Museum.
Alright.
She said she's gonna play Forge with Booyah, so I think that'll be pretty good. Echo?
Yeah.
I'm joining.
It's not like other games, right? Like you can have two supports, like let's say a CGR and a Flingza, and it doesn't affect the comp that bad, does it?
What's the rest of the comp?
I mean, you have to have
Splash.
fighters behind it.
Splash and
back it up.
Forge.
I mean,
I guess the main thing with like having two supports is like it limits your aggression. And so like generally if like say like the junior was a splash instead, then there will be a bit more aggression that they could switch to. And like they can have a bit more 1v1 ability. Junior's very good at 2v1s, so like it's very good at team fights because of its kit. So is Flingza with missiles, and its range for painting. Forge is a skirmisher. It does not have the paint output, in my opinion, to be able to like, it can't outpaint something like a even a Nova or like a Squelchers. So like its real benefit is like it is 3 shots to splat, and it's ink efficient enough so like it's able to just pop out like a squeezer and just take a lot of fights. So I guess like
Oh, go ahead.
so with Splash and Forge, you definitely have the paint output to keep up with a Forge, and I think that's definitely very helpful with it. One of the main things I'm seeing is just like you only have 2 weapons that want to like push up and are able to like be on the front of a push. And even then, like, a Forge wants to be, like, sort of at range when doing that. So it's not the same as, like, a Splash or Shot doing that. So, like, it's sort of like Forge Splash is a good pairing. Forge Junior is a pretty good pairing. Forge Flings that sort of take up a lot of the same space, honestly. Just because they're, like, sort of the same range, sort of the same, like, poking idea. One of them just paints more, one of them goes in for fights more because it's faster. It's something that can still, like, technically work, but it's probably not,
Ideal.
yeah, just because, like, the Junior and Flingza will also be competing for paint, and, like, with a Forge, it's not, like, something that will be taking paint up front. It'll still be, like, in the middle of the map, sort of where the Flingza will be. So I think, like, the Flingza and Forge are competing for position, and the, Junior and Flingza are competing for paint. And so,
in that
like...
case, I was thinking...
Oh, yeah, go on.
I was thinking maybe I could swap to Splash instead of Flingza, or Yahoo could switch to Shot instead of CJR, instead of having both.
Honestly, either of those would work.
I can try, yeah.
Yeah, I think generally, like, Flingza plus Junior, it can probably work. It's just, like, Junior wants to stay alive so it can throw torpedoes and do more team fights. Flingza wants to stay alive so it can get more missiles and get a bit more paint, so it's, they're both pretty passive pieces of a comp, and having multiple of them means, like, it's putting more pressure on your aggressive weapons to, like, get the most out of every opportunity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, can I talk about the initial comp you're proposing?
Yeah.
Realistically, Flingza and Forge are probably going to be, like, on flat, realistically. So either the Junior is competing for paint, or the Junior has to take more of an aggro role and start, like, engaging fights, and then I can maybe first follow.
Yeah.
I think Flingza plus Forge on plat is a bit too passive, especially because, like, you're not actually taking space in zone. Having, like, one of them, at least one of them on left side, would generally work well, or, like, while the Splash and Junior tried to help with the sides, so left or right, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I play, like, an aggro Flingza, so I don't really, like, sit back and farm misses. Well, depending on the map.
Right. I guess I'm saying, like, even then, it's, like, there are some points where, like, you want to just get the most out of the paint that your weapon provides. And so, like, I think...
I'm gonna be right back real fast, but you can start whenever.
Okay.
Okay. Like, the... Like, I guess optimal use of... Flingza, like, its optimal range for taking fights is about where its one-shot begins. To the end of its range. Like, those are the two main parts of it, and, like, where its one-shot begins isn't really... It's very committal to go in for that, so you generally don't want to lose missile, and so, like, the end of the range is the other thing. And it's practically the same, like, poking as a Forge in that regard.
Okay.
Where it's, like, sort of pressuring people out of an area, it doesn't do great against corners, or, like, Flingza also doesn't have a bomb, but generally missiles sort of fill that role. The main thing is, like, Forge, because it doesn't paint as much around its feet, it has less mobility than a lot of other shooters, but it has a lot of aggression that's pretty good. Flingza has limited mobility because it takes so much time between each swing. I think both of them can work on the same comp, but you really don't want a Junior with them because it's sort of a passive role that also can't really deal with people in corners or, like, a lot of aggro going at them. So, like, Flingza's Forge with, like, Machine Splash or something like that might work well. Junior with Forge is a fantastic pairing just because, like, range aggression with poking plus painting and torpedo to help out with fights. I I think it's mostly just the 3 weapons of like Junior plus Forge plus Flingza feels a bit too far back because none of them really want to push up. And even if a Forge pushes up for like new space, it takes a while for it to get the paint. So
Okay, I'm here.
Yep.
So maybe like double splash.
Either that can go to machine.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
Yeah, machine.
that's also a slower weapon, so I guess we'd have to change more than just sub out machine for splash.
Wait, machine for what?
No, I'm saying I could go machine, but that doesn't fix the inherent problem of being slow, because that's taking out our splash, which are only
I think-
2 aggro.
I think machine is a lot. Wait, which weapon were you using? Flingza or
Splash. That's what I'm saying, it's not a good
Splash?
idea.
Oh, yeah. The main thing is just like Splash isn't really the issue in the comp. It's mostly just like Flingza's sort of like the medium between Forge and Junior, where like none of them want to push up, and so it's all on the Splash to push up and take fights at close range. And so like one of the main things is like on something like Museum, there's a lot of corners that you have to deal with. So like if they're behind mid, like the pillar in mid, if the Forge tries to deal with that, then they have to be sort of not in their weapon's optimal position. Same with the Flingza. And the Junior doesn't really want to be going that close for a fight in corner because the opponent can just space them out.
Oh, okay. Lotus, how do you feel about playing Splash on this map? Okay. That's true. I mean, you do have like gold badge. Can we do a Splash, machine, Flingza, and then maybe Yahoo on shot?
Okay.
How much you guys are comfortable with those weapons?
I will make an attempt.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Does that sound better than the initial
Like-
comp?
like double splash machine in another shooter doesn't like it. It is known, tried and true, to have like the paint and mobility and aggression that you want, but
Yeah.
I guess like a lot of the pieces of the like original comp can still work. It's mostly just like Junior's sort of passive. Forge isn't like, it's not passive, but it's not like able to go
not
up very quick. It's not able to quickly get paint control, and so like because of that, it sort of limits like the aggression that it's actually able to make. Because stuff like shot or splash are able to just paint up in front of themselves and then move up with that, while Forge kind of pokes with the space that its teammates create initially. Flingza is able to create space at range, but it can't really push up with it because it's so committal with its vertical flings. So it's like 2 committal weapons and then Junior that's not really able to move up by itself. And so like everyone on the team is sort of waiting for the splash to do something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Let's try it out. Let's see how it goes.
I guess like if like the
No,
comp
like
that
the splash machine. Oh, sorry.
the like splash machine shot splash that you mentioned, that works. I think also like Forge splash Junior splash would also work, or like Forge machine Junior splash, because the machine and splash can move up as well with the Forge and the Junior. Something like I'm just like rattling off comps. I'm not really thinking of like which weapons you'll actually play, so I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
But like even like switching the Flingza to a splash would mean you have a bit more forward aggression with the pro. So like 2 splashes, a Junior and Forge would work well. A Forge Flingza and 2 splashes even would give like, compared to Junior, Splash just has a bit more like forward aggression that it can do with like burst bomb poking and its weapon being more accurate. So it's more accurate, more range. So it has more of an ability to fight.
Okay.
So yeah.
Like, this could be one of those
And then Yahoo goes CGI.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I could take.
Okay. I'm going to mute for the rest of their conversation about the comp. But welcome all new viewers. Hello, Knucklehead777, if you're still here. Yeah. So this is going to be a museum on zones. I almost said museum on Delfoncino. It's that point in the night. But yeah, so the main conditions of winning this map are just checking left flank, right, and getting control on right side. Once you have top mid and like anything with a range up top mid, so like a crab, a flingza, a forge, it can be very hard for the opponent to move in. So it's pretty good to keep in mind. On disadvantage, you want to like really take a left before you take mid. If you don't take left first or have anyone taking left, then like it can sometimes get a bit painful. Okay, so we have Splash Forge Machine Junior. Fair enough. So Splash and Junior start right side. No one's on left painting it up, but I think everyone clustered on right side. And the main thing with that is like if you drop right side, then there's nowhere to back up. It was also just a few unfortunate fights. B kind of popped off there.
Oh, they DC.
Oh, they immediately hit a DC after that. I think it's just like having someone or two people being on left side. So if left goes or left side, so if right goes south, then you back up.
Would we be allowed to switch the comp or just play the same?
I mean, you can switch to comp if you want. I think the main like reason why that
Everyone just drops immediately.
I think like everyone dropping on right side. Right's generally aggressive on this map. It's risky though because you don't have anywhere to back up if things go south. The main other thing is no one painted left side. So if someone's on left and someone's on right, then the person on left will be painting around so that right can move to left if things go south. Sometimes you get situations as well where like the opponent just surprises you and gets you picked off on right side. So left is generally lower risk to go to, right is high risk, high reward. If everyone went right as they did there, it limits the amount that can happen on right because the opponent just has to look on right side and not left. And so even if you didn't get picked off immediately, they could have started pincering you all because you were all in the same spot. You sort of clustered up there. Making sure like both sides of museum are taken is very paramount to winning on the stage, or at least like holding it neutral. It also helps where like if you have two people on left and two on right, if both people on right get picked off, then the people on left can just immediately back up and hold their specials for the respawns. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like I never know like where I'm going or what to do with this weapon, and like I know what like on paper what I should be doing. I just can never do it in practice.
Okay. Which weapon is it again?
T Junior.
Okay. So I guess like a lot of C Junior is just like paint control, and making sure like areas that, well, being able to help in fights with torpedo, if like your teammates are planning on taking a fight, making it into a team fight, is something that Junior excels in, and Junior also excels in just taking paint control very quickly. So like left side has a lot of paint that you can charge for Wavebreaker the other side of the game. That could be something to consider.
Yeah, okay.
Generally, yeah. A lot of Junior's game plan is just charging up Wavebreaker. Because it can get it in a very short amount of time and utilize it.
Alright.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna drop down right this time. I'm gonna try and win left.
Okay. Follow you.
Okay, so no one dropped on right side. The difference here is because no one dropped on right, there was no real pressure on zone, and so they were able to just cap immediately. But they overextended, and so you were able to get multiple picks from that. And then the try strike on the Expo was really good. Good pushing up with this. Encore going right while everyone else went left. That was really good with a pincer on the last one. That was a good retake. Just yeah, make sure that you don't give up mid when you don't have to, because if the team doesn't like overextend, then they can just wait for you to have to push back into them. Good picks on them, good booyah to keep up momentum. They rained without having anyone on the team alive, so the rain doesn't do much. Neither does the try strike.
Oh my god.
That's an unfortunate death, but really nice pick as well. If you're on right side like that and you have to back up, sometimes your teammates can help you if you're being pushed back like that. Like Junior's coming in now. Good for recognizing it, but I think communication with like where you're wanting to push in and like.
Why did I do that? I don't know why.
Mentality-wise, stay focused on the game. Yeah. Lotus dropped in without paint, especially as a pro. That's a death wish. Because your weapon does not paint at all for yourself. So having something like a Junior with you is pretty important. Also with Pro, you have the range to be able to poke from the top of Museum, so you can help out. Oh no! That falling in the water is so unfortunate, but good picks in mid. Good control. Y'all need to take paint on right side. Like, the area where B's probably going to look and drop down. All that's already painted for them. They don't need it even painted. They could be there and you don't know. Which also, Neko Nyoctos, if you're watching this, don't forget left side is important to go in. You're all dropping in on right side and getting punished for that. But back to Refresh. Lotus is up very far without paint. Gets a trade at the end. Trade is decent, but just make sure you use your pro's range. You outranged the splash, and so it didn't have to come down to that. They had to push into you. So you pushing into them is very limited with how it can help. Good direct at Encore. Very nice picks overall. Oh wait, they capped it at one point. Whoops. Not yet. No, staying. Did your controller die? Phone call. Okay.
I think we're doing pretty good.
Okay. Legacy, you jumped out there before you even got pushed in. They weren't even moving in all that quickly. You don't need to give up that space if you don't like actively get pressured for it. Like if you let them force them to push it into you first, then they'll have to get space much slower so your teammates can get revived or respawn. Sorry. Good that both of you dropped down on right side together. Better than having one person alone. Junior and Forge, don't. Yeah, maybe just focus on keeping paint around the T-Tech. Use your range in fights. Good 2v1 though. I think that could have gone a lot worse if it wasn't a 2v1. So, very nice team fight. Very nice. So now B comes in alone,
Takes on the
gets punished because they don't have paint. Good punish on that. Like, see, I think pushing up here is valid because you see the actual is alone and get the pick. Very nice. With a BL bomb, you got a pick with it. Nice. Maybe just holding it though, because like they had to push it eventually, and it's close to the end of the game. So only when they start pressuring you.
Oh yeah.
That's just a nitpick though. Really good game. Y'all pushing really well with specials. There were a lot of good team fights. I think especially with like Junior and Forge near the end of the game, there was one pick where I think the Forge went down but Junior finished them off. That could have been a lot worse if it wasn't a team fight. So really nice work on dropping down together there. I saw earlier in the game the Forge drop down alone. One thing about Forge is you can abuse its range. It has more range than a splash or a splatter shot, and so it does really well on like elevated points like the spinner on, well, not exactly spinner on Museum, but like the platform essentially. So like you can sort of start taking fights from there and then back up if you need, but it gives you a lot more of like, essentially you don't need to drop down if you don't have paint, but because the Junior was there with you, then it was understandable to drop down on the second time, I mean. Yep.
I went right a lot for this one when I noticed that they were pushing aggressively, because no one was on the right side when I dropped down twice. So I only did that if I saw that they were being super aggressive for a flat, and I was able to pick one off or get a pick, and so it helped a little bit. But
yeah, dropping
I don't
right.
normally do that. Yeah, I don't normally do that if everyone is on their plat or if they are actually in the zone.
Wait, so like if they're actually in zone or on their plat, then you don't push up on right side?
Yeah, like if they are all on their left side or on their plat, I don't drop down on right because I know I'll get picked off. I think I will get picked off if I don't have a teammate with me. But because they were so aggressive and I could see two of them heading towards our plat, I pushed to the right.
Yeah, so like if you're on like, I just want to make sure we're talking about the same place on the map. So like, is it from like, what is it?
Do you mean the plat from the top spinner?
So like,
Yeah.
top, like, if you're in zone, you have to use the middle spinner to jump over onto plat. That's what I'm referring to when I say plat.
Okay. I'm getting my call-outs mixed up then.
Okay.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So like, were you saying like from your plat you drop down right side if they were mostly pressuring left side?
So you know the far right alley? Is that what you mean?
Like the right flank.
Right? Yeah, that right flank. I did that twice.
Yeah.
When I noticed they were being aggressive.
Okay.
But you're talking about the actual right side of zone, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think one big thing is like when you get advantage, make sure that like the right side in front of zone, but like still on the same vertical level as it is painted. Because like that's a place where you can drop down pretty safely. It's like the first place to probably get if you want a slow push in the mid and not a flank. And if you don't paint it, then the opponent can use that space for free, essentially. They don't have to do a guessing game of, like, is someone shocking here or not?
Okay.
I hope that makes sense?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. I think one other thing with, like, sort of... I noticed that, at the start of the game, all of you were very, I guess passive on left. Or, like, on plat. Just... I think the main reason they were able to take zone is because, like, y'all took my advice a bit too much. Like, there's a healthy balance between, like, holding mid aggressively enough so that you're contesting space, but safely enough so that you don't get picked off. And even if you overextend a bit too much, just making sure you're not, like, so close to your teammates that, like, they get 3. So, like, I think the separation between people, like having 2 or 3 on left side and 1 on right, is really good. that was a step in the right direction. I think just with Machine, you don't really have the range to pressure zone that much or paint it. And so I think you can afford to drop down on right side, if that makes sense.
I mean, with their comp, it's not, we don't really have any pokes, so I can stand a little bit more in the open, because
Right.
Punish. The Machine really punishes like bad approaches, because if they run at you, they're usually chipped beforehand and just direct them to die.
Yeah, this is true. I think yeah, there's one other thing. It was like as far as using Forge Pro in fights, make sure that you're using your range, because like, yeah, you outrange Splash, you outrange T-Tech. I saw you rushing a T-Tech at one point and getting into its range when you could have afforded to like just sort of stay back in like mid. You already had zone, and so just staying back in mid, slowly inching closer to them and forcing them to either back up or commit to fighting you, and then you can back up and finish them off. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try that.
Alright.
Okay.
They also want to redo that zones match after.
Do you wanna? Okay.
Oh, after this one, not right
Which comp do you want to do for this one, Legacy?
now. Well, you already know, Ing's gonna play Carbon. And I'm probably gonna go CGR.
Okay, am I sitting out again?
Yeah.
I can
Drop for
Yeah,
Ian.
you could sub in. Maybe, go back. Alright, you can join in.
I think one more thing to note is like, I'm nitpicking a lot of these. Overall, you all are playing well and like aggressing, like, or you're punishing them overextending really well. And your mechanics are, they're also good. I think I might also like to, like, I don't know how much, would be gained from, like, seeing, like, scrims that are, I guess, like, for example, sets that you lost in LSL.
Yeah.
Since
You
I,
could send me some.
potentially, yeah, I think, like, or maybe even, like, finding teams from those sets and scrimming them later. I
We
think it's,
actually did.
okay.
That's right.
It's been, like, about a week or more since LSL, and especially after, like, I've sort of bombarded most of you with tips. So.
Yeah, it'll help a lot. And, Ankar, can you?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I just want to say, speaking of LSL, Legacy, did you see that?
You must play.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
I
sign up for that.
Yep. You were saying one, Legacy?
Oh no, I was gonna ask Ankar if he switched to Splash.
Okay, okay. I think I've given Ong and Insanity a lot to think about, so I'll try to focus on one Legacy and Onkar for this one, if that's fine.
Alright, on this map, it's between walls on the right staff.
Okay, I'll do it.
And that area in general. That's where I want to go.
Alright.
Towering plot. So Legacy's moving right with Carbon, pretty good.
They all went right.
You back up and move left
Yeah,
while
I got
teammate
picked
tries
off
to
by
take fights.
by our staff. They're still there.
Maybe having paint on far right, because they use a lot of that paint to move up, and generally you don't see,
Look at the map for a second, I was trying to get that.
at least on Inkblot, you don't see people going through mid to fight. because then they can get pincered. So
I got
far,
crab
like
right
left
now.
tree and right tree are the main
I'm jumping
places.
because crab.
Good jump. Decent poke, just watch out for the crab on
I-
car. That was a little unsafe,
I'm waiting for it.
but it worked out, so.
I got one with Trizuka.
There's a lot of paint that you're sort of leaving behind, but I think focusing on backing up is fair here. Just know that your carbon's fighting while you're backing up fully, and so they had to back up as well, even though it was a fight that they might have been able to contest space for. Om's moving in while everyone else is back up on flat.
They're on left side.
No one's really pressuring on left here,
They're coming.
even though there's no crack there yet. There's just Dooley, which has it, but hasn't used it yet.
We have bump coming in.
So
They
get
have a
first
lot
check
of
off
paint.
of that.
Yeah.
You got one.
Moving in here situationally, Carbon's
tried
with
to
you.
get back
So.
Two.
And then you back up as soon as you see crab. You can just stay behind the block. You don't need to back up that far, especially as your carbon's up front. Just contesting
Let's see
paint
what he
is
does.
still possible. Yeah.
Okay, well. It's just flat. I popped.
You're crabbing here, but at the same time, like, there's not that much like crab's main benefit is being able to deal with range. If you're moving into something that's short range, being able to paint them out and limit the potential places that they can be sharping is generally the way to go.
Hi, they're gonna pop crab. I see.
Also, you're halfway trapped, so just keep that in mind.
Nice.
No one's on the plat. Ong's trying to go there, but they're alone.
Wait. Push up on the left side.
Okay.
Okay, I'm on their flag.
Like, see, you're up front alone.
There's one more.
Somehow, okay, with the crab, y'all got 3 picks,
Left.
but this is a much better positioning for like a lockout situation. I think just one legacy. I think if you want someone to be on back alone, it should be the splash while the junior holds tower. The reverse makes it so that if they rush the junior, then it's more likely to lose the fight, just because that's the nature of the weapon.
Back out.
Let me just touch for the tower.
Okay, jump.
Good touch.
It's on shell.
Decent crab, honestly. You don't need to back up to behind block right now. Like, you still have the you just don't have an advantage in players, but
I'm gonna get a flat.
okay, now that's fair. Encore, just make sure you call out when you get a pick like that. You're going in their spawn. I think the main thing with that is like you still need back control, and so getting paint control for that, getting crab. One big thing here is they still need to get checkpoints 2 and 3, and you can just charge up a crab and use defensively at range. So
I'm gonna get on their flat again.
don't need to be taking fights right now. Still don't need to be taking fights. It's a 2v1. Get one of them, but you trade. You lose crab there. Don't need to be taking fights here, but considering they didn't paint any of that, I guess it's fair. Carbon, out of the weapons here, I think Carbon's the one that would be taking fights if anyone was. It's really just you want to conserve your crab. They use both crabs right now, give them space.
I thought
Okay. Really nice weight as well.
Alright. Hear what Echo has to say, and then I have to go.
Okay, I think that was a really good push overall. Just make sure that, like, if you get a pick on right side, I saw Onkar get one on the machine. You can try to take plat with that, and I think that's a lot more important than trying to go in their spawn on the map, just because it's where
Can I
Tower
go
wants to go
top
first. Sorry?
Can I go through my thought process?
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to put them back so they take their shell with potentially crabs like 75% within the splash spot in me.
Yeah.
Generally not a good idea.
The main thing is, like, if you want to take their statue, or, like, in order to crab, then you can jump to it from, like, a block on plat, or you can jump to it from bats. And having control of plat or bats also helps tower move up, and so...
Yeah. I mean, I think I called it in the moment where like
I didn't hear you say that you picked the sloshing or that you were moving up.
I didn't. Sometimes I just focus too much and I don't really say anything.
Fair enough. I think it's also a matter of like if you say like you're trying to aggress plat, then like if a teammate is around and available to help with that, then like it can begin a push if like you're able to start getting a lot of space on their plat, revealing enemy locations, and then dealing with them accordingly.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I think at the end of the game it was really good for those of you that backed up on right stack. Initially it looked like you were staggering a bit, still trying to push in at like 30 seconds left, even though you had a push to 9. And so generally you don't want to be like dying with special near the end of the game, because that can make the like it can cause like a snowball in the enemy's favor.
Yeah.
So really good on holding that area and just waiting, especially when the 2 crabs came out. Just giving them space is the best option. I mentioned a few other things about like situational positioning. As far as pushing up, as a junior, I saw you on bats for a long time, and I think like if you want one person on your team to be on bats alone, and someone else to be on tower, it should be the reverse of what you were doing. So like the splash was on tower, the junior was on bats. But if someone rushes the junior on bats, then junior can't take fights like that as well as something like a splash. And so having the splash there, maybe with crab later on as well, is a potential like thing to happen. And junior can just paint for more wave breakers. So
yeah, I didn't see anyone on tower, but maybe I should have called for the junior to back up and I take the spot instead. So.
Yeah, I think also like being able to say like have sort of a dedicated tower rider on that comp, it seemed like the junior was the best one to ride, since like splash pushes up, carbon move pushes up, squelchers have so much mobility that tower sort of hinders them. So yeah,
Yeah, that was my bad. Sorry.
no, it's fine. Just yeah, keep that in mind. In comps like that, it's also like junior throwing torpedoes is a huge part of like its help in fights, and you can throw them at like a long range. So I think a lot of like initial pushes in mid sort of were decided after winning engagements and getting like 3 or 4 down. I guess I'm still not seeing that much like I didn't really see when the junior was placing down weight breakers, but so like when Legacy was placing weight breakers, but I don't really remember any of them being particularly like slowing them down or like creating a push pivotally. So yeah, I guess like I also saw a lot of fights happening, and so with fights, sometimes it can just be better to like stay back and charge special, because it's a lot less of a risk to use a special to push in than it is to just go in as a weapon. I heard someone else start to speak, but
No, that might just be my mic okay.
okay.
Alright, thanks.
Yeah.
I have to go now. Thank you. This was amazing. And I will watch your stream video later, Echo.
Yeah, of course.
As well.
Yeah.
GG's.
Thank you
Alright,
so much
GG's.
for coming in.
Thanks, everybody. See you later.
See ya.
I think I also have a few other things that I need to tend to, so I need to leave this scrim a little bit early, but it has been a pleasure. I hope
Okay.
that I've helped. If any of you have any questions, know that my DMs are open, or if like you want individual help, since I know some things were like talking about mechanics or mobility with weapons, or like not knowing how to position as a junior, stuff like that is sort of difficult to talk about in like a team coach, just because I guess with the way that I do it, I sort of like speak about the relation of like you to your teammates a lot more than you to the enemy.
Yeah.
Because like team plays are you can essentially only do them in comp instead of something like X rank. And you can still work on like a lot of individual things in like team play, but I generally find that like it's a bit more beneficial for everyone on the team to like sort of hear like how to play around each other.
Yeah.
Because things like mechanics are sort of like you can practice them anytime, but team stuff can really only happen when you have the team with you. So if any of you want to like look through these games or like other games where you've lost, or like even X rank or series where you sort of aren't sure how to improve with it, just let me know.
Alright.
We can try to find a time. And yeah, I hope
Thanks for
this.
coming.
Much for helping us.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Alright,
Alright, GG's, and I will see you all. Have a good night.
You too.
And I will be cutting the stream off short as well. So, thank you all for watching. It has been very nice, and yeah, hope this has helped. If you want any streaming or to look into my coaching for yourself, you can contact me at echo #7956 on Discord, or Twitter at @starryecho_. Yeah. And make sure to tune in for the next streams. Tomorrow I'm also commentating Splatoon Advanced Circuit on IPL Splatoon's Twitch channel, so make sure to tune into that as well. Right, see you all.